Hi, I'm Maddie. Welcome to my first YouTube video. This is Frog on It, kind of like Dog on It, but Frog on It, because when you frog a project. I've had this idea for these videos for quite a while, and I'm finally getting around to recording them, and I'm very excited. I'm also a little nervous. I hope that I get better on camera as we keep going, but I really like watching videos where people kind of just inform you about something they're a little hyper focused on. I also crochet and knit quite a lot. I learned how to knit when I was a kid, and I kind of fell out of it. I used to knit a lot. There was one year where I knit probably like 13 scarves for various friends at school. It was crazy, and I kind of just fell out of it. I don't know why, but I did. You know, I got into other things, art, reading, that kind of thing. I kind of rediscovered it as an adult. About 2 years ago now, I started learning how to crochet, which I had tried learning how to crochet when I first learned how to knit, and I only ever made one thing. And actually I can show it to you, hang on. I made this little cover for my 2DS. By the way, I bought this 2DS with my own money, so I was very proud of myself. I worked really hard that summer to get this, and then I crocheted myself like a little pouch for it, and it's so very obviously one of my beginner projects. I tried my best, and you know what? I made the colors match, so that's pretty cute. So about 2 years ago, I got into crochet, and I think a lot of it was just looking at people's clothes and sweaters. I really like making wearables, and that has not changed. I got back into crochet, and that kind of reignited my love for knitting as well. And I've always kind of wanted to do YouTube videos. I've tried doing them before. I have since privated all the videos, but I had an art channel for quite a while where I would record over my desk me drawing pictures and just talking about my drawing process and things like that, and that was fun. I really enjoyed it, and so I kind of want to get back into that. You know, I really enjoy video editing, and I really enjoy making things and sharing what I make with people. I'm a pretty big Bailey Sarian fan, where she does her makeup while she talks about true crime or even Fundy Fridays. Her and her partner, they don't do their makeup that much anymore, but they do some. She does hers sometimes. They talk about like evangelical Christians and gay stuff, which I love that kind of thing. So I thought it would be fun to do a channel where I kind of did that, where I talked about things I was interested in, but I crochet and knit while I do it. And I was thinking for a while that I would do projects that related to what I was talking about, but I realized that if I did that, I would just keep putting things off, because then I'd have to design something, or I'd want to design something, you know. I wouldn't just like start doing a pattern, because I'm just that way. So I thought it would be better if I started it and I just worked on whatever I felt like working on in the moment. And then I could talk about my little special interests with you guys and still get work done that I need to get done. So what I'm working on right now is a hat for my friend, who will hopefully get this hat before this video comes out. It's just gonna be a simple ribbed knit beanie. I am doing double crochets. I'm doing navy and white stripes. And then I'm going to I have some fuzzy blue yarn for a little pom-pom on top. I'm making all my friends some hats. They're very late Christmas presents. Note to non-crocheters and knitters out there, if you have a fiber arts friend and they tell you they're gonna make you something, they're good for it. I promise. It just might take a year. There's no guarantee. So let's go into our topic that I picked out for our first video today. I'm very excited, and I hope you guys like it. Deep, dark waters hold many secrets. I feel like when I ask people about phobias, one that I hear quite often is deep water. Swimming where you can't touch can be pretty scary, and I kind of get a little afraid too, even though I love to swim. I love going into a lake. I love going into a pool. Good luck getting me out. I'm not getting out until I turn into a freaking raisin, because of how pruny I am, okay? And the only way you can get me out is by bribing me with ice cream, because if it's warm enough to swim, it's also warm enough for ice cream. Over history, there have been many mythos and theories regarding underwater monsters that have flourished and hold iconic images in our culture. One such monster, and arguably the most famous of all water cryptids, is the Loch Ness monster, or Nessie. and she's huge. She's often depicted as having a very long neck and big flippers. Kind of looks like a plesiosaur or a lapras if you're a nerd like me. I have a particularly keen interest in Nessie in particular of all cryptids. She's one of my favorites. Stay tuned to the end, by the way, for a little Nessie tattoo reveal, which will be fun. She's an icon, a legend.
And she is the moment.
But in my opinion, she's a little bit slept on. There's a lot of love for Bigfoot and a lot of love for Mothman, which, don't get me wrong, I mean, that is a fantastic booty. But Nessie? That's also one sexy monster if you ask me. Before we get into the iconic image that we think of when we think of Nessie, we should probably get some groundwork out of the way. Loch Ness is in the Highlands of Scotland, and it's a body of fresh water that extends about 37 kilometers long, and that's 23 miles for my American brethren. Its deepest point is 233 meters, or 755 feet. That makes it the second deepest loch in Scotland, right behind Loch Morar. Sorry if I mispronounced anything, by the way. Like I said at the beginning of this video, deep water holds a lot of mystery for a lot of people, and it's a huge fear for many. Looking at photos of the Loch Ness and how still and black it is, I can see how so many myths and legends came out of it. The first depictions of Nessie can actually be dated back to the early Middle Ages. The pics were the indigenous people of northern Scotland said to be tattooed or painted to people by the Romans when they first ventured into the area. They often made beautiful stone carvings depicting animals or creatures. It is often thought of by many historians to be similar to Egyptian hieroglyphics, where they were a sort of written language. So were these early drawings of the Loch Ness Monster herself, or just a message we can't decipher? We don't really know for sure yet. But I can see why Nessie enthusiasts get excited about the sea serpent and flippered creatures featured in these stone carvings, especially those found near Loch Ness where she gets her namesake. I want to note here that these depictions could be other types of water creature folklore, as they're very present in that time, such as Kelpie. Kelpies were these like water horses that would trick children into climbing on their back, and they would offer them a ride through the water. They would get on their back, and their hands would get like stick to them, and the Kelpies would drag them under, drowning them. Then also, according to these legends, these children would wash up on shore. The livers of these children would wash up on shore the following day. Very creepy. And there are a lot more stories on Kelpies that I could deep dive into if that is also a future video you would like to see. The first actual written encounter with Nessie occurred on August 22nd of 564 CE. Saint Columba was a Christian missionary from Ireland who claims to have witnessed a monster firsthand. He wrote that he saw a monster going after a man swimming, so he held up his hand and told the monster, "In the name of God," to stop and turn around. And allegedly, she listened and the man survived. Now, personally, I highly doubt that Nessie was a God-fearing cryptid, but when Christian missionaries knock at my door, I would go out and swim into the deep depths as well. So, I get it, girl. Go find yourself a snack that won't preach some semantics to you. The more modern Nessie craze came about in the 1930s. This is kind of what we know of Nessie as today. And if you're not a Nessie truther or enthusiast, you probably won't know all those background details from things that took place in like 560 CE. In 1933, a road was completed along the loch that brought more eyes to the area. A couple in April of that year told Irvness Courier that they were driving by the water and saw a creature that they described as a dragon or a prehistoric dinosaur. It was in this article that Nessie was first dubbed a monster, and people flooded to the area to try and get a glimpse of her. This famous photo was taken that same year by Hugh Gray, who was taking a walk by the water. He said he saw the creature, got a few photos, but only this one developed. He described it as an object of considerable dimensions. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the times when I'm looking at cryptid photos, even though I am an enthusiast, I just am squinting trying to see the cryptid in the photo. I really don't see it in this one. It doesn't look like anything to me. Maybe a log, a rock. This photo, along with the eyewitness reports, just encouraged the media storm even more. It was at this point that Daily Mail actually hired a big game hunter to find Nessie. His name was Marmaduke Wetherill, not to be confused with the dog. Although I do really like the idea of Marmaduke, the dog, going cryptid hunting. Wetherill ended up finding mysterious footprints on the shore. He took castings of these and sent them off to a museum. However, it was discovered upon research of these castings that they were actually made with a stuffed hippo foot. Like that from an ashtray or umbrella stand. Okay, first of all, what kind of freaking decor did they have in the 1930s where they just had hippo feet laying around? It's unclear when I researched this if Wetherill was one who made these footprints in the first place or if someone else was messing around by the water and he got duped. However, he was a big game hunter, so in my mind it's not too far-fetched to think that he would know what a hippo foot looked like. Maybe? I don't know, do big game hunters hunt hippos? Hippos are terrifying. You know, my favorite Christmas song is I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas, but that would be actually terrifying if we had pet hippos. Did you know that hippo meat was suggested instead of cow meat first during, like, I want to say it was the Great Depression. Like in America, they were like, what if we fill the swamps of Florida with hippos and use hippos for hamburger meat instead of cow? Anyway, this humiliated him and ruined his reputation. So it is believed that he had a hand in creating the very famous photo that we all know and love today, known as the surgeon's photo. This is what a lot of us think of when we think of Nessie. The long neck, the back slightly rising out of the water. This photo was given to Robert Wilson in 1934 to give to Daily Mail. He sold it for 100 euros, which according to an inflation calculator would equate to 21,500 euros today, or rather 23,237 in good old American dollars. This photo, I hate to break it to you guys, it was revealed to be a hoax using a toy submarine and a plastic head. I feel like I could create a much more convincing Nessie photo in like Photoshop, and maybe I could sell that to Daily Mail. It'll give me $23,300. That would be nice. Despite all these hoaxes and no clear photos of the Loch Ness Monster, many people, including scientists, have committed their lives to finding evidence to support her existence. It's very interesting because similar sightings of water monsters are seen all around the world. There's Champ of Lake Champlain in New York, Ogopogo in Okanagan Lake, Canada, Issy in Lake Ikeda, Japan, and I'd like to take a moment right now as a Michigan native to say that there seems to be a sighting of Nessie in every single Great Lake. I love that. Every time I go swimming, I always really want the possible threat of being eaten by a water monster. Helps me stay alert, focused. Honestly, dying to like a huge water monster is kind of the dream way to go out. We all die someday. Might as well be to Nessie. What can I say? She's just my type of woman. Now for the less fun part, the debunking theories. There are more boring ones, like the picture's just a log in the water, the monster that people are seeing is just trash floating. This is definitely what it most likely is for a lot of the Nessie photos that we have. It's a large, dark mass of water, and if you see something floating in it, your mind is gonna make some things up. I've seen theories that it could be some type of freshwater eel, though eels only get 4 to 6 feet in length, not the 20 to 30 feet that many describe Nessie to be. Still, again, eyes play tricks on us. Water's dark and scary. I'm gonna tell you guys a story about another theory I know of due to a customer service experience. So I work in food service and I was at the counter teaching a girl how to ring customers up. And this regular comes in and he always goes to a self-serve kiosk that we have instead of talking to us, which is why I thought it was weird when he started initiating conversation. And he goes, "You know Nessie?" I mean, the girl like, yeah, like the Loch Ness Monster Nessie. And he was like, "Scientists think they know what she is." And we're like, okay. And he tells us about how male whales during mating season, when they're, you know, will come up to the water, and sometimes they're upside down and, you know, is sticking out of the water. But he said it in a little bit more of a crude way, which was a really kind of creepy customer experience, not gonna lie. But it was so out there and out of nowhere that we both were just like, and started laughing because we were like, ah, that's so weird. Gotta get my white. This is like only white I have is on here, so we're gonna hope that it's enough to do these stripes on this hat. That's future Maddie's problem. Any of these photos of a long neck coming out of the water could simply be a goose. Goose, also terrifying, by the way. Nessie has some competition in those waters. One of my personal favorite theories that I've heard is that Nessie is the ghost of a plesiosaur. And I love this because not only do I love ghosts, but I also love dinosaurs. And the plesiosaur is one of my favorites. I mean, I also like triceratops, which I know is a little basic, but I just like them, okay? They're a fun shape and they come in fun colors. I also love this idea because that means you could just be walking around and see ghosts of other kinds of prehistoric life. Like, imagine just walking into the woods and you stumble upon the ghost of my main man, Cotlorhynchus. Side note, my cat Evie is kind of built like a Cotlorhynchus. And I say that with the utmost love and respect. I birthed her, that is my child. Her deformities are my deformities. And now that we've reached what is essentially the end of my research on Nessie, I did promise a tattoo reveal, so I guess I will give a tattoo reveal. What? I was turned around, so I have no idea if that was in view. If not, I will insert a photo. But yes, I have a Nessie stamp. And you know what? It's one of my favorite tattoos. I remember when I pitched the idea to my tattoo artist, she was doing a tattoo on the back of my leg on Friday the 13th for a flash day. And I go, you know what would be a great tramp stamp? Nessie, right here. And she goes, say no more, I'm in. Anyway, that is the end of my video. I hope you guys liked it. I'm so excited that I finally got around to recording this. You have no idea how long ago it was when I wrote the script for this video and how long ago it was I came up with the ideas for these kind of videos. And I'm finally getting around to recording it. I just moved into my own studio apartment. I'm living on my own for the first time ever. No roommates, no partner here with me, just me, my cat, and my pet bunny. I realized I didn't get very far in my project. I think I only did like, I'm on the 5th row and I got through the whole script. It was really hard for me to talk and work on this at the same time, so I hope I get better at that as I go. So I hope you guys do forgive me for the lack of progress I made on this project. If I finish it while I'm editing this video or before this video goes up, I'll insert a photo of it somewhere on the screen. And that's all I have for you today. Once again, my name is Maddie. I go by she, they pronouns. I'm Frog on it on social media. Right now I only have a TikTok and YouTube. I would like to in the future maybe get on TikTok. I don't know if that's really my vibe, but maybe, we'll see. But yeah, leave me some feedback below if there's anything that you would like to hear about in the future from me, a different project maybe. Maybe I could do some projects based on what I'm talking about. Maybe make some little ghosts while I talk about ghost stories. That could be fun, some little amigurumi. I will say I mostly make wearables, so if you would like to see me working on anything, just let me know. I also really like doing tapestry projects. I could totally do like a sweet tapestry of like some Mothman cryptid while I talk about Mothman or something. Or a Fresno Nightcrawler. Imagine a Fresno Nightcrawler tapestry crochet piece. Wait, sweater. Or what if, oh my goodness, I just had the greatest idea. What if I get a bunch of white yarn and just make myself a whole Fresno Nightcrawler outfit? Is that insane? Maybe. But you know what? I have free will and I'll do whatever I want to do. So thank you all so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye!